Mr. Elijah Millsap. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, man. Never been better.
Good, good, good. Thanks for coming on the show on the Rematch, basketballnews.com and Fly TV. And I reached out to you because I've been following the story, and I saw that the NBA gave its foundings a few days ago. Then I read an article in the Salt Lake City, Tribune from yesterday. So I wanted the point of this show, the point of what I do, is to give athletes the platform and the opportunity to tell their story and to tell, their side. And a lot of times with the media, Malcolm X said that the media has the ability to make the guilty look innocent and the innocent to look guilty. And that's exactly what the media does. So that's why I even started this platform in the first place. And so I want you to take us back. I want you to tell us, walk us through everything that happened, and then we'll get into, the NBA's reaction and the article I read and everything like that. But just walk us through everything that happened.
Yeah, I try to be brief. I won't go into, a lot of details, but, I the story for as what happened that day. Uh, Obviously, it was the end of the season. You know, uh, we had just, played the Rockets, I believe, was and I was excited. Excited because at my first year as a pro, I felt like I did really well. Our team was doing really well. We finished the year as one of the best teams in the NBA. After the All Star break,
Hmm.
number one in defense, number one in efficiencies and things like that. And so I was riding a high, interview, and I was met with bad feedback, and it was unexpected. And so um, obviously, what we do as humans, when we're hit with unexpected feedback or anything, it's either fight or fight. And so I put up my wall, and I addressed the facts, and the facts were I was one of the best defenders in the NBA at the time. We were the top defensive team in
Hmm.
the NBA at the time. Uh, I think we even had the most wins after All Star break in the NBA at the time. And so me throwing those facts, was in them giving me opportunity. It wasn't looked up as I guess me in my position. And so at the time, I was speaking with Quinn. Dennis irately, said what he said, uh, and that was that. After that happened, you know, like 3 or 4 minutes later, I had to get on the podium and obviously, be professional, as we're so accustomed to doing. But we've done that 1,000 times, so it was different. Uh, that one particularly hurt me a little bit more, and I had to kind of like go deep inside to kind of like say uh, be politically correct. But I did it, and that was that.
What exactly did he say to you?
Uh, he told me that if I said one more word, that he'll cut my black ass and send me back to Louisiana.
That's what he said. Those were his exact words.
Exactly.
And that was in response of you presenting the case of how you played that season and how you were top defender and everything like that and what you contributed to the team, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, one of the things, so who else was in the room at that time?
It's Quinn Snyder. I didn't at the time when I came out, I didn't know that Justin Zanuck was in the room. Uh, that really didn't stick out to me.
Hmm.
But if they said he was in the room, I wasn't gonna say that if I didn't remember he was in the room.
Now,
So
right now, when Dennis said this to you, did he whisper it to you? Did he lean over close to you, or did he say it like from across the room and type of shout it to you? Because that wasn't quite clear when I was reading about it.
Yeah, I mean, he said it like a authoritative, he irately, said it. And my reaction was, did he really just say that? And I was a little bit more, excited, and
Right.
a little bit more angry at the time. And I looked at Quinn, no reaction on his face. But, I've healed from that situation, so it's easier for me to talk about it now and
Right.
understand that, at the time that he was like, he probably felt that I was coming out of my position as the player,
Hmm.
and he wanted to actually put me back in my place. And so what he said was wrong. It was racially insensitive. After 6 years, you fight with yourself on, what type of person you are. And I've always been a person to, you know, step up, do what I need to do for, my family, do what I need to do for, and if I can help in any way, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I did.
And so there's no way that Quinn Snyder couldn't have heard this. Like it was loud enough for him to hear, and
Yeah,
there's no way that he could have missed it or anything like that.
absolutely no way.
Wow. Wow. So from then, and tell me this, because I think a lot of the things, and when you came out about this, I saw a lot of people immediately go to the defense of speaking to Dennis's character and saying that he's not racist and he's done this in the past and he's done that in the past. And I thought to myself, well, none of that means that he couldn't have said this. You know what I mean? It's not like you were saying that he was racist. You were just repeating the facts of what happened. Is that correct in my assumption?
Absolutely. And I said that in my initial interview. I'm not here to prove, he's a racist. I'm not here to prove he's all of those things. That's between him, his Lord and Savior, and who he worships. Me personally, he said to me at that particular time, and I
Hmm.
know the position that uh, humanity is in right now. And so I would feel like a coward if I could actually, and this is just me personally. What I'm
Right.
saying? Everybody's entitled to, step up and do what they feel like they need to do when it comes to, racial injustice and speaking out. Me personally, I was having two younger boys, and
Mm,
one day being able to, have to particularly deal with their issues. I want to be a liar and say, I would have handled it this way. Nah,
mm.
speak up because I did, and that's what I did, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. So I don't take none of this stuff, the comments, I don't take none of that personally, because obviously when you do something like this, hopefully you expect it, uh, it's not something that I didn't expect, being the person, being where I am, and being where he is, and obviously where the team is in this particular, moment. People are going to be upset, and rightfully they're supposed to be,
Right.
but are they upset at the wrong thing?
Right, right. And that's what that was my question. Who exactly are they upset at? And talk to me about the investigation. I thought that was a little bit interesting reading about the Jazz investigation, and then I guess the NBA, they pushed it to the NBA to have their own investigation. Explain to me what happened with that.
Oh yeah, man. They NBA, the NBPA, and the Utah Jazz, they brought in private counsel, and they did what they're supposed to do. When something like this happens, and I'm grateful for them for what they actually did because it's it's one of those things that you just never know how it's going to go. They did their best, and obviously at the beginning, I was skeptical. And, I had to realize that, this is a business. They're going to, investigate their employees and try to
Uh-huh.
get to the bottom of it.
Uh-huh.
And, I can't be patient of what should happen or what shouldn't happen. I don't have evidence. The people who I asked, the people that I actually told them, I told them, if you don't feel comfortable speaking up for a situation like this, because it's sensitive, people, they worry about their families, they worry about how they're going to be looked at past. So
Mm,
I told every single one of them, that's up to you.
right.
I've been in these type of wars, I've been in wars all my life. I'm not afraid to stand up on my own, but in the
Mm.
same sense, that's up to them. And, they decide what they choose to do.
So
And
so
if that's what they
after
choose
so
to
at,
do, I'm fine with that as well.
right. So after it happened, there were people that you told, teammates and things of that nature, that it happened. And I'm not asking you to name any names or anything like that, but there
No,
were people
absolutely
that you, but
not.
you were people that you told.
Teammates, not teammates.
Okay.
What can a teammate do for me? And
Right.
I may have told, a teammate. I don't know. I know I wouldn't tell them the details of what happened. I may say, yo, some crazy, some crazy shit
Right.
happened to me
Right.
meeting, but I would
Right.
never tell them the details because what are they going to do for me? And I would
Right.
never want to put them in that position. But
Right.
yeah, man, I had so many friends on that team. Rudy, Trevor Booker, Alec Burks, Rodney Hood. Uh, who else? I had some good friends on that team. So
Right.
flip between one of those, but I didn't call up all those guys, because at the end of the day, they're in a position in their life right now, and I wouldn't want to bring that on them.
Right, right. So when the NBA did their investigation, they asked I guess the was it three people in the room? There were you, Quinn, Dennis, and one more person that was in the room. So they just asked you all, and they all said that they didn't hear it. Dennis said he didn't say it, and then you said that you did hear it, and then that was the end of the investigation. I mean, what else could they possibly do with the investigation? They just asked everybody the questions, right?
Exactly. It's not too much you can actually you do outside of, check and check their protocols and procedures. On my end, it's just, my word against theirs. And
Right.
they obviously asked me if I had any notes, anything that I wanted to submit, or if I had any other people, and I've already came up with the conclusion that, nothing serious would probably happen to these guys if
Mm.
they have something serious, something tangible to show them, or a recording, or something like that. I can
Right.
show them my notes, but at the end of the day, what is that going to do?
Right. Right.
Uh, it's just
Right. 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 And so what would you have liked to happen from this once you did come forward with what happened? What were you hoping would happen?
had no expectations at first when it came to that. This was all, honestly, to conquering my demons, and the things that were in, and me actually fighting for my inner child, my little child, basically my inner child or whatever it may be. Uh, and I did that, in those situations in the moment. It's tough to kind of like defend yourself because you already know what you're gonna, I guess, how it play out. Like situations like Kaepernick, situations like, what can happen. And so
Hmm.
at the moment in time, I wasn't strong enough to defend myself, to
Mm.
be honest with you. So I've always told myself that I will go back and defend myself at some point when I became stronger. And obviously, with the sensitivity of it is right now, and obviously, I just felt like the time was right, and I wanted to get that weight off of my chest, and I did that. And so when I came out, the moment I said what I said, I was relieved. You know,
Mm.
everything that happens for us after that is it's up to the NBA, NBPA, like it's up to society how they feel about it, or accepting of somebody calling that, uh, saying that to, that could be your son, that could be your daughter, and obviously, I wanted to push the needle forward, knowing that, other businesses that this probably has happened to other people before,
Right.
and hopefully, some change come from it.
Were you? expecting or hoping for Dennis Lindsey to at least acknowledge it and apologize. I mean, it's not like you were calling for his job. It's not like you thought that they were going to fire him over it. And even if he did say, yes, I did say it and I apologize, he probably still wouldn't have been fired from it. But were you at least hoping that he would at least acknowledge it and say, yes, I was wrong and I apologize to you in front of the world?
I was, and I probably could have done a better job in, reaching out to him to tell him how I was actually, thinking his position or his plight should have been. Not saying he would listen to me. We need more, white people in positions of leadership stepping up, admitting the wrongs, right?
Right.
Like if I feel like other white people, saw that from a leadership position and they take that stance, people that fall under will probably say, you know what, maybe we're looking at this all wrong. And if
Mm-hmm.
he can actually, make the change and, accept the fact that he was wrong in what he said, then, maybe we can actually see this and start looking at this, not be afraid to kind of like, put it out there that we've made mistakes in the past. And
Right.
that's all it was. It was a mistake. But, it's even a greater mistake to lie about it after the fact.
I agree. I agree. Um, so yesterday, Gordon Munson, who has been a columnist at the Salt Lake Tribune since 1993, he wrote an article for the Tribune. And the byline was, only those in the room know what was said 6 years ago. But I do know that Utah Jazz VP is not a racist, nor is he racially insensitive. And he went on to pretty much defend him and tell about his personal experiences with him and personal conversations that he had with him and how he is dedicated to social justice and ending racism. And he just basically made the case to say that he would never say anything like this. And I'm reading the article and I'm like, wow, that's pretty one-sided. I mean, he could have reached out to you and got a few comments from you and gotten your perspective or said some things about you, but basically all he said was, I don't know if Elijah Millsap is lying or not. And then he went on to Dennis, and I had an issue with that. I got to be honest with you. Reading that, and I read it, and then I said, all right, let me go back and read it again because maybe there's something I missed. And I read it again, and I was like, nope, no quotes from Elijah, no saying anything about Elijah, nothing. He just presented the case as if there's no way that this person that he vouches for would ever say anything like that. And I just want to ask you, did you read the article and did you have the same reaction that I had when I read it?
Not really. I didn't have because, like I told you, I expect stuff like that when it comes to, um, these journalists, and their relationship. He may know Dennis a different way than, how my experience. He's entitled to his opinion. Um, I haven't been taking too many people's calls lately, anyways. So he
Mm.
probably wouldn't have gotten in contact with me to get a quote or a
Okay.
statement. But he's entitled to his own opinion. Um, like I said, man, my character is going to be in question,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously, in these type of situations, the first thing they want to do is as much damage as they possibly can, which is which is sad for the quote unquote victim, which I don't
Right.
see myself as, because
Right.
I'm actually on the hunt right now. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're supposed to do the, and that's what they're doing. Um, I don't expect anything different.
Right. And your that incident with him, that wasn't necessarily, or I'll ask you, was that an indictment on the entire Utah Jazz organization or the entire city of Utah? Because that's what he went into detail defending, as if that was something that you were trying to discredit or attack or anything like that. And in the statements that I've read from you, you didn't really say anything about Utah Jazz fans. You didn't say anything about the whole organization unless there was something I missed. So were you just talking about one incident in particular, or were you talking about an entire culture of the Utah Jazz?
Man, I was only speaking about my incident. Uh,
That's
when
what I
I
thought.
was in Utah, I had an amazing experience when I was in Utah with the fans. But in the same sense, you don't really see people's true colors until, something like this happens.
Hmm.
Although you don't want to, categorize the whole Utah culture with this. They got to step up and hold themselves accountable and start weeding out these people who are actually on the attack and are saying the things that they're saying to people. I take glances at my social media, and you do have a lot of people who are explaining exactly what people are talking about, you know, coming from Utah. And so, um, like I said, my personal experience living there was amazing. I've had have great relationships there. It's not indicative of the whole, culture, but they definitely.
Got you. Got you. So moving forward from now, because now it seems where the NBA kind of put the situation to bed. They basically said their statement was the investigation was unable to establish that the alleged statement was made, and that was it. Like I don't know what else is going to happen, but it seemed like that was all from the entire investigation. And I saw the Jazz made a statement, and I can read it. They said, as an organization, we take all matters of this nature seriously and have zero tolerance for discriminatory behavior of any kind. We appreciate the thorough process of the NBA's investigation and thank all parties involved for their full cooperation. The league's investigation was done in coordination with independent outside counsel. We respect the league's process and results announced. For more than 25 years, Dennis Lindsey has been a respected basketball executive around the NBA and a leading voice on social justice within our organization and community. So that's just where the Jazz left it. That's where the NBA left it, and I guess that's it.
That's it for them. Me personally, I spoke with the NBPA, and obviously for me, and this is something that they need to make either different procedures when it comes to exit interviews, uh, so that no other person will have to ever be worried about that happening to them. And whether that's a whole recording or however that plays out, it needs to be something that happens with this. You know, um, I guess with the Dennis Lindsey, Quinn Snyder situation, who knows? We'll see what happens in the near future. But I guess that's the end of their investigation. But it wasn't enough for me.
And so you're now working with the MBPA moving forward to try to come up with something. I just want to recap that because that part I didn't know, and that sounds like a great idea to come up with a system where the next person that is in your situation would have their exit interview maybe recorded, or have their interview, have another witness or somebody from from the Players Association side that can sit on the interview with you, or something like that, in order to be able to have some concrete evidence if something does happen that shouldn't happen. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why it came out as well. In the sense of, this is not, fun and games to me. This was a serious uh, issue, that I had to, stand up to. And being able to stand up to it, now it's time to, make sure that it doesn't happen for future, generations, as well as, and, as well. Like I said, I'm sure other people have been through similar, and maybe worse instances.
Mhm.
But I feel like we can actually step in front of it right now and say, what, make this change so that you're not left, hanging alone, or you got to depend on, somebody speaking on your behalf, you know, uh, for everybody to think that what you're saying is not a lie. You know, in their place.
I
So
think
that
that's
doesn't
very
even happen, you know.
right, right. I think that's really admirable. I just want to tell you, for me personally, much respect to you for having the courage, first of all, to come out with this, and then for you to be able to look towards the future to see how this situation cannot happen. And you don't. It's not like you sound bitter. I know sometimes the media tries to, portray players or portray you in particular as being bitter. I think even in this article, they said, well, what does he have to gain from it? And then he listed all of these different things that said that, did you see that part in the article?
I
He
did.
lists all these. I was like, wait a minute, why are you even putting that even out there? That, is it sour grapes because he's not on the team anymore? Is he bitter? Like, they just throw that stuff out there, and you're not bitter. It's just the principle of what happened, and you
Yeah,
wanted to, call it out and then make sure it doesn't happen again in the future. And I have a lot of
for sure.
respect for you for doing that. So again, thank you for taking the time to come on the rematch on
You know,
basketballnews.com.
they should have said how much you have to lose, you know.
Definitely.
They said
Right,
how much you
right.
had to lose because when
Yes.
you look at the games, there's not too much games that you're
Yes.
going
Yeah.
against the Goliath.
So talk about that a little bit, about, since he didn't put it in the article, before I let you go, talk about that, of what you do have to lose by saying this.
I mean, they could do it themselves, you know, if they wrote have a, and this is what I did, you know, before. On one side, you have your cons, and you have your pros. The cons are going to outweigh the pros by, you know, probably 2 or 3 times. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you put in that perspective, it's a little bit more, you know, courage and a little bit more because even with, you know, people not having your back, you know, that's on the cons, you know,
Right,
put that
right,
on there, you know,
right,
and so you look at that and you say, you know what matters the most, everything on the con side is outside. Everything on the pro side is eternal. It matters, you know, the
right.
most. And that's moving the needle forward, you know, our children's and, you know, being honest and true to yourself. Those are the only thing that matters to me.
That's great. That's admirable of you. So, like I said, much respect to you. And thanks for coming on the rematch on basketballnews.com. And you have your support. Anytime you want to come back on here and explain anything else, you definitely have a safe space here. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for what you're doing. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bless.